Hi. I tell a lot of people when you've had as many hits as I've had, you too can drive a 1994 Honda. So today I'm going to play you one of my biggest misses. For every hit you have a lot of misses. And this is the biggest miss I ever had. It was cut by Tim McGraw, but it was before he got a deal. Cut by Jerry Lewis's daughter. I don't know if she ever got the deal or not. Cut by tons of independents, but they never made it to the radio. And finally, Juice Newton cut it. She had a record deal. It was her single. It was flying up the charts when her record company folded. So I still got the song. It's still waiting to become a hit. This is They Never Made It to Memphis. Well, she left St. Louis in a Pontiac Tempest, had her road map open, red line through to Memphis. He was smoking down the highway in a blue Cadillac. Smiled as he passed her and she smiled back. So they made a little stop at the Dove Cafe to drink black coffee while the hour's away. She said, I'm going to see Elvis, make my dreams come true. He said, I can't believe it, that's my dream too. And they started talking about the money they'd save if they rode together for the rest of the way. But they stopped to throw a penny in a wishing well and set out in the yard of a local motel. They never made it to Memphis. They never saw the king. He saw a chance at heaven. She saw a wedding ring. They got as far as the altar. It was a fast affair. They never made it to Memphis, but they didn't care. Couldn't understand where the time had flown. It was 1990 and the kids were grown. One day she admitted that she still had the dream of heading down south to see the home of the king. So they dropped off the dog with old Auntie Kate, headed down to Graceland 20 years late. Well, as soon as they hit that open road, every twist and turn reminded them of long ago. He was thinking about the kisses that he used to steal. It was getting real hard to keep his hands on the wheel. She looked as good to him now as she did back then, and they were sweet 16 all over again. They never made it to Memphis. They never saw the king. They made a little detour at the Dairy Queen. They found the Wishing Well Motel. They did it on a dare. They never made it to Memphis, but they didn't care. They never made it to Memphis, but they didn't care. Alrighty then. So I told you in the last video I did that in this one I would tell you one more story of how I got a big placement in a television show, and it was the 3-part miniseries Hollywood Wives. So the way this happened, I used to be a flight attendant with Eastern Airlines, and one night flying from somewhere, it was a midnight flight out to LA, I was reading Cosmopolitan, and I read this excerpt about how Jackie Collins wrote this song, this book that became, I knew it was such a sleazy piece of grease, I knew it would be bought and put in some kind of television show. So I scribbled down all the lyrics, and then when I got back to Nashville, I ended up completely writing the song with Jeff Silbar. He was one of the 2 writers, along with Larry Henley, another dear friend of mine, God rest his soul, on Wind Beneath My Wings. So Jeff and I wrote the song, I demoed it, took it to LA, bought a copy of the book, Hollywood Wives, and I took it in to Warner Chapel, where it was on Sunset, the big high-rise there. And I saw Chuck Kay, the guy who ran the company, in the hall. I grabbed him like a pit bull on the arm and pulled him into his office and said, I got to play you this song, Chuck. It's so great. And right when I started to play it, all these people started filing in, and it was the Monday morning meeting. And Chuck said, get her out of here. Give her what she wants when we're done. So when they were done, I was lurking outside waiting, and George Geem came out. This was his first day working at Warner Chapel. So I followed him into his office, and he said, what do you want, Jan? And I handed him the book, and I said, I want you to call this publisher and find out who bought the rights to this book. And I'll wait outside. And I did, and he poked his head out and said, Aaron Spelling bought the rights. And I said, okay. So Val Nuss, this wonderful secretary, was sitting there, and I said, Val, would you type a letter for me on some Warner Chapel stationery? She said, sure, go ahead, and her fingers flew. She was so fast. And I said, okay, dear Mr. Spelling, one of our top writers has completed a song we feel captures the essence of Hollywood Wives. Sincerely, George Geem. She typed it, she handed it to me, and I go, thank you. Knock, knock. I came back into George's office. I said, George, all I need from you is for you to sign this letter. And he was so hesitant, but I could see that he remembered what his boss had said, give her what she wants. So he signed it. I took it from him, and I went back outside, and Val said, what are you going to do now, Jan? And I said, I'm going to take this demo cassette and this letter and find Aaron Spelling and give it to him. And she goes, you know, he's over in our lot on Formosa. You want me to messenger it over to him? And I said, oh, would you do that, Val? She said she would, and I thought, okay, it says in the Bible, having done all you can, stand. So I left. I thought I'd caused enough trouble. The next morning, I got a call where my husband at the time and I were staying in this, what we call the Rock and Roll Hotel on Sunset. It was the Continental Hyatt, but that's what everybody called it. And it was George Geem on the phone, and he said, Jan, you're not going to believe this. And I thought, oh God, they fired me. And he goes, Aaron Spelling just called me, and they're going to use your song as the theme song for Hollywood Wives. I was like, oh, that's great. So you never know. I didn't know you couldn't do what I did, so I did it. Oh, and I have to tell you one more thing before I play this other song. You know, I've got this merch site, and it's www.cafepress, CAFEPRESS.com/Jan Buckingham merch. And there's a lot of cool stuff on there. So, you know, check it out if you have time. Now, this song I'm going to do you is going to come out next February 1st of 2024, just in time for Valentine's Day. It's kind of a song I wrote about anybody who had to get rid of somebody or who got dumped by somebody. And before I play the song, I always tell the people listening to me in a club, after 2 divorces and many a failed relationship, I discovered the pure, sure cure for a broken heart. And that pure, sure cure is not liquor, it's not drugs, it's not another relationship. The pure, sure cure for a broken heart is what I talk about in this song. I tried so hard to show you that you could be my man, but as I got to know you, nothing turned out like I planned. Why you found so much fault with me, I'll never understand. So go ahead and leave me now, I just don't give a damn. Gonna get me a dog, one that won't talk back when I get home. Lay his head in my lap, lie by my side. log when I get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog, one who loves to play. When we go out, he'll never stray. He'll take a walk anytime I say. No need to talk when I get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. When I lay down the law, he'll give me his paw. I'll scratch behind his ear, and he'll bring me a beer. Good dog. Gonna get me a dog, maybe from the pound, and I won't miss having you around. We'll eat some cans, two happy hounds, living high on the hog when I get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. He can bark all night, and I love that sound. Won't mind him digging in the ground. Better than having you around. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. Alrighty then, I hope you have a good day.